When you do movement that crosses the midline of your body, it can automatically increase your creativity, your focus, and your productivity.
What would you say to the people who often use the phrase, I can't dance?
And naturally, by just kind of letting it out and physically moving your body, you are shifting things into new perspectives.
It horrifies me and makes me jealous in equal measure, which is a very strange place to be.
Welcome to the Being Human podcast with Amelia and Jez Francis. Brought to you by Just Add Water.
Hello and welcome to the Being Human podcast with me, Jez Francis.
And me, Amelia Begting. This is the podcast where we continue to explore what it means to be human in this world we find ourselves living in. Jez, you've given something a go for the first time in a little while, I think I remember you saying, earlier this week that I think fits perfectly with our conversation today.
Go on, what do you mean?
Well, earlier this week, you went for a lunchtime run at work in the beautiful sunshine, and we've got a brilliant guest on today to talk about movement.
Well, yeah, you're right. I did go running, and that must be the first time in maybe 20 years since I've had a lunchtime run in central London. I went for a jog from the office through Southwark into the Archbishop's Park, and then back along the Thames, over Westminster Bridge, down to Blackfriars, and then back over the river onto the South Bank and back to the office. So I think it's about 6 kilometres all in.
Oh, it's very good. I've given you the opportunity on the podcast to have a little bit of a humble brag there. What do you enjoy about running?
The challenge. I haven't always found it comfortable, so I like pushing myself. But over the years, I've learned to love it. I think what I value most is that sense of calm and peace that washes over me as I'm out running, and in particular afterwards as well, which, my head seems to sort itself out, and I feel that kind of benefit, that calmness for a number of hours afterwards as well.
I have to say I'm jealous of your experience of running, because it's something that I've tried to get on board with, but I haven't quite got that runner's high. I'm just thinking one foot in front of the other the entire time that I'm running. And I did train and ran a half marathon last year. But that was 6 months ago, and I haven't signed up for another one. But I have to say, I'm not sure I will be signing up for another one anytime soon.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. It's not always a runner's high.
No, true.
Sometimes it feels like quite an effort. But I think that's the beauty of the conversation that we're going to have today, is that movement doesn't have to be one thing. It can be explored in so many different ways. So, you do it through hockey, for example.
Yeah, and also I think going for walks outside, when the weather's nice, I can be strolling around for absolutely hours. But this is, definitely something that you and I can talk about for hours and hours. So before we get carried away, I wonder whether we should tell some boring tales.
Yes, it's the part of the podcast, often one of my favourite bits, where we share stories about the more mundane aspects of being human.
The dull moments, which I think, you and I have been strong advocates for highlighting and celebrating, in fact. So, Jez, why didn't you kick us off?
It all happened at the big Tesco's near us last week. I needed to get hold of some bits and bobs after going to the gym last Thursday evening, including toothpaste.
Solid.
Some bagels and some mixed nuts.
Nice.
As well. So I managed to find the bagels, and then I had to enlist the help of a initially very helpful overnight shelf stacker who I feel by the time we got to the mixed nuts was on the verge of actually telling me that he wasn't employed as a personal shopper.
Did you ask him to take you for all of those ingredients that you... Okay.
Around this massive store.
Now I empathise with him slightly more.
I think the straw that broke the camel's back was when I asked him how he felt about the mixed nuts being in the home baking section.
Oh, the poor man.
I said, this is surely a merchandising planning mistake, at which point his eyes just completely glazed over, and I knew that he needed to get back to what he was supposed to be doing. So, and he left me there completely on my own, standing in the home baking section almost at midnight. But anyway, there we go. Boring things about me. What about you, Amelia?
So my boring thing about me is all to do with my morning routine. And there's something within my morning routine which I guarantee is not part of your morning routine.
Okay.
Are you intrigued?
I am intrigued, yeah.
My routine is wake up.
I do that.
Brush my teeth, shower, get dressed, put some makeup on, check I've got everything ready. So I'm about to leave the house. Now, before coat and shoes go on, I head back to the bathroom and I turn on the tap in the sink and I wash my fringe.
You wash your fringe?
Yes, I sort of lean over, turn the tap on, just very delicately. There's quite a art to this. Wet the front bit of my hair so it's all ready. Get the shampoo, put that into a lather just the front bit, then rinse it off, then have to get a towel to make sure and very delicately do this so water doesn't go all over my outfit for the day or my face that I've just glammed up.
Is this just, have you ever met anyone else that does this?
Everyone who has a fringe washes their fringe in the morning. I would put 100 quid on that.
Wow.
I know.
I'm speechless, which is
unusual.
We are thrilled to introduce Gemma Louise to the Being Human podcast. Gemma is a creative artist and company director with a strong passion for movement, expression and innovation, specifically using the creative arts to promote physical and mental well-being for everyone. Gemma graduated from the Northern School of Contemporary Dance, where she specialised in education and worked as head of dance for 7 years in a sports and wellness centre before she founded Sutton Community Dance, an all-welcome community dance hub focused on bringing the power of dance to the community. And if this wasn't enough, Gemma also works as a freelance for Project Move, where she has the opportunity to work on a diverse range of projects supporting physical and mental well-being through movement. Gemma's a mum of 2 daughters who also share her passion for dance, with her eldest currently studying at the Brit School. Gemma shared with us that she loves silence, travelling and time by herself, alongside all the noise and liveliness of running a busy dance studio. One of her favourite quotes is from Dr. Peter Lovett, who says, "When you move, you improve." Gemma, welcome to the Being Human podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we are thrilled to have you in the room with us. And we're just going to begin by asking you a couple of questions to get to know you as a person a little bit better.
Great.
So, who or what has had the biggest influence on your approach to life?
So I've been thinking about this a lot recently, largely because I think you put, maybe it was you, Jeremy, put on the your LinkedIn post a question about who has inspired you in your life. And it got me really thinking, because I've been really blessed to have many people influence my life. And I think sometimes I can think too deeply, who has really made the most impact? And I actually have come full circle to it being my mum. And I think, that's maybe quite common for many people, that it's a parent in some ways, but I don't think I realised it was my mum until more recently. And it's probably most specifically her quirks that I now recognise in myself. And that's when I realised how much of an impact she's had. So, for example, when I used to come down in the morning, when I've woken up, my mum would be sat in one corner of the room in her armchair, which makes her sound really old. She had an armchair, drinking a cup of hot water.
Oh.
Or doing some exercise. And I find myself doing both. And if I ever say to somebody, yes, I'd like a hot water, please, I'm like, oh, that's my mum. So I do both of those things. She also had and really still does have quite a thirst for learning. So I remember as a child often going to language classes with her, music lessons. We did do tap together once. That's probably not her area of expertise, shall we say. And I haven't really tapped since, but that was the good memory. So I think my thirst for learning that I do possess comes from her as well. And she also really helped me think along the lines of positive thinking. So she was often heard to say, you need to think positively, or it's all in the mind, and things like that. And I think that's really resonated with me. Not always possible, but it is kind of in the back of my mind to try and have a positive thought process. So so I think my mum.
Oh, she sounds fab. Gemma, what's one piece of music or song that you'd want to be with you if you were marooned on a desert island?
I'm going to be really boring because I don't have one. I've never really had a favourite band or style of music, artist. I've just always really loved a range. And depending on how I'm feeling, or depending, I might hear something like, I need to Shazam that because that's a great track.
Yeah.
Because I move and I teach dancing, I'm listening to lots of different styles all the time. But even as a child, I was quite strange maybe. You're
in good company.
Yeah, excellent. That's encouraging. I didn't listen to pop music as a kid. I listened to Classic FM. Nice. And I remember people used to say to me, oh, what's your favourite band, or who's your favourite artist? And to say Classic FM was not frowned at, but a bit, interesting child. So, yeah, I really like and appreciate an eclectic mix of music. I think if I was marooned on a desert island, I'd probably choose something chilled and vibey, like a soundtrack to my island experience, maybe. But sorry, it's not one specific.
No, not at all.
Gemma, how do you like to start your day? Any rituals or routines that set you up for success?
I love routines and rituals in general. I love traditions. So I really get excited on the 1st of January about some sort of resolution. I know people don't often like those because they can be seen to set you up for failure. I actually just really enjoy the thought of, let's implement something new. And I get renewed energy and vigour for something on the 1st of January. So this year I decided I would set some of the dancers that I work with a movement challenge, which I filmed in my pyjamas and sent to everybody on the 1st of January as if they hadn't got better things to do, to say, this is what I'd love you to do every day throughout January, like as a kind of precursor to our classes together. And that movement sequence that I created on the 1st of January, I have done every morning since.
Oh, wow.
And I've been really, really enjoying that process. And it began with just that, but I've been habit stacking. Have you heard of habit stacking? So I've been learning a lot from my work alongside the Physical Intelligence Institute, which I'll tell you more about later. But in my learning with physical intelligence, they talk specifically about habit stacking. So stacking habits onto existing habits. And my existing habit since the 1st of January has been this movement sequence. So then I've added things on and added things on and added things on to the point now I'm getting up ridiculously early.
I was going to say, how many hours are we talking here?
I don't know if I want to share. It's really silly. Let's just say by 8 o'clock I'm so ready
you're
for bed.
knackered, yeah.
Blimey.
And that's in the morning. So I am stacking things on like crazy, but it's unbelievable. I just feel like having done that, by the time I actually get to work or get to start my day, I feel so good. I just feel so much more able to deal with whatever happens in my day. I feel a lot more resilient. And I'm not rushing. I mean, maybe I still rush a little bit because I leave things to the last minute, but I generally have accomplished in my mind so much by the time I have to get into the world.
Yeah.
That I just feel a lot calmer, a lot more peaceful, and I feel
ready for the day.
Happier. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
What time do you have to get up? Come on.
Should we guess? Is it 5?
It is 5 at the
Oh,
moment.
my word.
Yeah. Do you know what?
I am so asleep at that time. It's ridiculous.
It's a giant lark. Let's now dive into today's conversation about movement. So, Gemma, tell us a little bit about what life was like for you growing up.
I think I had a really happy childhood. My grandparents were quite involved in my upbringing, and they were really good fun. We had holidays together with my grandparents. I feel like my parents dedicated a lot of cash, perhaps, to me being able to do lots of different activities, but I know we weren't very financially well off. So I'm sure now as an adult, I appreciate that was probably quite a struggle. But I was really fortunate. I did some horse riding, I did some ballet, I did some gymnastics, I had music lessons. And honestly, I look back and think, how did they do that? But I genuinely think they must have just put everything into me in that sense. But it wasn't a pushy environment. It was all very, very relaxed. I did stop all of those activities when I went to high school. And then it wasn't too long before then something happened with my parents and they split and things were quite different then. I can't say that anything is notably hard about that time. I don't have a lot of memories about that time in particular. My memories are mainly about when I was younger. And I went off to dance school and I literally left home and never went back at 17.
How did movement and dance first become a meaningful part of your life?
I think having stopped it maybe highlighted a void for me because we didn't have dance at school, and I don't remember doing any extra things really like I'd done as I was younger, but I did find friends who still danced and spent my lunchtimes and my break times dancing with them. So there was obviously something a little bit missing having stopped those activities. And 2 significant things happened then. So at some point when I was at high school, I don't know how I found it, I came across a prospectus for a performing arts college near Leicester. And I'm really swayed by pictures, and the pictures were great. I was like, I want to go there. And I think my mum was quite surprised at that because I never wanted to dance. I wanted to be a nurse.
Oh.
And even when I did all my activities as a youngster, nursing was what I always wanted to do. So I think when I found this performing arts college, I think my mum was probably a little surprised because it wasn't at all related to nursing in any way. I recruited my then PE teacher to help me with an audition dance. And that's where I went, to this performing arts college. And then when I was at the performing arts college, I saw an advert, which makes me laugh now, in the Stage newspaper. Did you ever come? I mean, Amelia, probably not.
No.
But I don't know if you ever came across the Stage newspaper. I saw an advert for the Northern School of Contemporary Dance, and I cut it out, stuck it in a scrapbook, and decided that's where I was going to go next. And I don't think I really understood that I might not get into these places. I just decided, I was very naive to the world of dance, just decided that's where I was going to go. And I didn't really try for anywhere else because I had my mind really set on that. And I think in that sense, I mean, that's where I ended up. And I think that maybe dance found me rather than me finding dance in that way. And it's become a meaningful part of my life through almost default, really, because it wasn't ever my intention. It's just something I enjoyed and then kept going through doors that opened.
Have you ever had an experience where movement has helped you through a particularly difficult time or challenging period in a positive way?
Yeah, so this is going to sound a bit dramatic perhaps, but I really feel like dance and movement has saved me in a way. I have been through a really quite traumatic time over a period of a few years. And I think because dancing is my livelihood, that's my job, I couldn't really stop. I think in another kind of job, maybe a bit more of a sedentary job, I might have been signed off. I think it was full-on kind of breakdown mode for me. But the performer in me was still able to give that. And I did feel like my body was broken and I wasn't really able to function brilliantly. But I had to keep dancing because that's what I do. In that sense, I feel like dancing has saved me because I didn't stop it. The movement continued and I've transitioned through that time and out the other side still dancing. I don't know if you've seen recently, there's been a release of a documentary on BBC Two. It's the story of principal soloist of the Royal Ballet Company, Stephen McRae. He experienced, I think it was 2 years ago, an Achilles snap on stage, which, you know, performing at that level is quite significant.
Yeah.
I thought his career was over. And this documentary, I've been waiting for it for a while, it follows his transition back to health and recovery. And he's now back to performing incredible feats and is stronger than ever. And this documentary is called Dancing Back to the Light.
Oh, nice.
I'm not in any way comparing myself with the principal soloist of the Royal Ballet Company.
You should.
Not at all. But just the title of that documentary alone really resonates with me because I feel like I have danced through the darkness. I feel, you know, it's quite melodramatic, but it has been that dark. But I've carried on mainly because I had to. And actually, if I hadn't done that, I would have been curled up in a ball. So in that sense, I think it has helped me through a positive way.
Without meaning to pry, were you, when dancing, does whatever else going on in your heart or your mind switch off temporarily? Is it a period of respite? Or?
Yes and no. I'm trying to think of some specific times. And I think there's been times when my mind has still been very noisy and hard to switch off. And I have been teaching small children and put my head down to do a hiding activity and cried a bit and then come up and been like this again. And in some ways, I mean, I think that can sometimes be to the detriment for some people behaving in that way because it can really break a person when you're not fully yourself all the time. But I think I'm not somebody that easily gives up. I don't like to give up. I want to try and work hard, like my girls say.
Yeah.
So I think in those times, it was hard. I'm sure there'll be hard times again, but I genuinely feel like, I mean, maybe even those children around me, they had no idea.
It won't come as a surprise, I'm sure, to know that many of the people that we've spoken to on the Being Human podcast have described when they've had a strong sense of purpose in their life, it has helped them navigate turbulent times.
Yeah.
People have described it as almost like having an account that you can draw on during those times. So it is interesting, and I don't think it's dramatic at all. I think
No.
it's very, very real, and will be reassuring to people listening as well, I'm sure.
In what way does movement help us process emotions?
So I feel like with this, there's some quite scientific knowledge that I could draw on. I can't claim to be my own, and I'd love to quote somebody in a moment. But I suppose in the purest of senses, I've experienced it myself. You can feel your emotions all wrapped up inside of you. And naturally, by just kind of letting it out and physically moving your body, you are shifting things into new perspectives. So Claire Dale at the Physical Intelligence Institute is the authority on this stuff as far as I'm concerned. She's brilliant. Claire says that every emotion, every thought that we have is essentially a chemical reaction. Thought, emotion and action are inseparable. We are our thoughts, our hopes, our fears, our history and our experiences. And therefore, to create change in our lives, we first need to change what's happening in the body. And again, I referenced the fact that I said if I hadn't been doing a physical job, I might have been curled up in a ball. And you can imagine how if you are feeling a certain way and you're in that ball, in that state, how do you hope to recover that without physically moving yourself? Claire references your body being like home to a river of fluid, and like a river that becomes stagnant, if it's not flowing anymore, becomes stagnant and toxic. And it's the same with the fluid in our body. And the fluid in our body carries chemicals and neurotransmitters around our body to help us with our well-being. And if that fluid can't flow properly and the toxins can't be released, then it's obviously going to affect your state massively. So Claire suggests things like shaking things to really kind of give yourself quite, I can't remember what the word she used to describe it was, but really quite a fierce shakeout can really literally move those fluids around your body if you need a quick surge of something.
I can see Jez
he's having a go.
Slightly shuffling, but I feel if you want to shake
like
it out, you
Ren
should
McCormack in Footloose over here.
You look exactly like that.
I'll take it.
For me, thinking about what you've been talking about that was really resonating is when we were all in lockdown.
Yeah.
And the containment of being in the same space, working in, a bedroom, which a desk was 1 meter away from where I'd spent, past 8 hours sleeping, to then, just go downstairs, come back to that space, be sat down. And the days where a friend of mine, we used to go for a walk, do a 5K hour-long walk in the morning, and I'd come back and have a totally different, obviously when that was allowed.
Yes,
not when
of course,
wasn't
of course,
allowed.
Amelia.
Such a rule breaker.
But doing something as simple as that really did change my perception on that day.
Yeah.
And I think that is moving and letting your body do something that it wants to naturally do. And so much time we spend in the same chairs, in the same hunched positions. And you talking about all those toxins being, contained and actually letting everything flow round it just makes so much sense. And that's immediately just where my head went to, of a sort of personal experience of where you really feel that difference when you do that walk, and then the days where you've spent a couple of days where you haven't.
It's like we forget.
Yeah.
It's like we forget. I feel like we all know that movement is good for us, but we forget. And you then go and do it. I mean, I can't tell you how difficult it is to get my youngest daughter to go on a dog walk. And she always has a great time when she goes. She has a blast. But the thought of it, the same, for most of us sat at our desks, the thought of actually physically getting up out of the chair is sometimes too much, but we do it and we will feel better.
I know from personal experience that both physically, I'm sort of 9 months into recovering from a partial Achilles rupture, which has been incredibly frustrating. But I've made the biggest step changes in my physical rehabilitation through movement, through physio, by doing exercises and moving and what have you. And so physically, I know that movement is restorative and helps us repair and heal, but also mentally as well. I've experienced some lows, and always, either getting out and walking or running in particular has always helped. Is there a moment you could share with us, or something where you've witnessed the people that you work with experience profound change through movement?
I've got two in my mind, actually, specifically. And one is maybe close to the early days of opening our studios in Sutton. And we had a mum come in to speak to us on behalf of her daughter, who is fully fledged adult, but really struggling with social anxiety. And her mum came in because she wouldn't cross the threshold. And she wanted to dance, but couldn't speak to us. The idea was terrifying. And she dances several times a week with us now and volunteers in one of our classes. And I know that she still really struggles with social anxiety. It's still a big thing. It's not cured her, but she is over the threshold and she is dancing with no inhibitions whatsoever.
Amazing.
Giving it her all. And in that sense, even if it hasn't cured her in every aspect of her life, for those moments, she's a different person and she doesn't have that same fear that she has on the other side, if that makes sense. So that's one tangible example. Another, if I reference a little one actually, that came to us initially and joined my parent and toddler class. Cute. We start at 18 months with little ones, so they're super tiny. And he came with his mum, and he has some additional needs that make lots of things quite challenging. He loves to run, so he was often zooming around the studio, mum trying to grab hold of his top to rein him in. And he thrived in the classes, so much so that when it came time to go to school, she negotiated with the school that he could always leave school to come to my class. She really fought for it, because it's quite unusual to be able to take your child out of official education. But she really fought for it because she really saw the benefit in him and wanted to always film to show people that he was really responding so well in the lessons.
Maybe the school saw a shift in his behaviour.
Yeah, I think so.
Taking part made him more able to concentrate and focus at school.
Yeah, I think so. And the fact that his mum actually did it with him as well. She then continued. So after leaving my class, she went on to do a different class with us and continued for a while and still attended with him, which was nice for her as well, actually.
How does movement bring people together and foster a sense of belonging?
Oh, I forgot. I wanted to ask if I could play some music, but that's okay. I can sing for you.
Or you guys could sing together. I won't volunteer because I can't sing at all. But if you tell Jez the tune, he can always chime in.
I basically wanted for us to have a little boogie and face the other way, which I now realise if I do that, you can't hear me, so I won't. But to face the other way and to then discuss how that feels for yourself. And, there's merit to be had in dancing on your own, of course. But then the difference when we turn around and face each other again. And you can imagine, we're looking at each other now and we're smiling. We have eye contact. Jez is laughing, probably at the thought of what dance moves he might have brought to the studio today.
But I'm laughing. I've got that image in my head.
Well, look at what the image has done. We've not even done it.
It's so true.
Just thinking about it. I'm smiling in part because I feel like I've gotten away with this one. I'm not being made to dance.
It's not over yet.
But I'm smiling because I know in my heart that what you're describing is true as well. There is a togetherness when you move with other people, for sure.
You can even be facing each other, dancing together in a unit and feel like a real idiot, but you kind of almost share that with the people around you. And either they support you in not feeling like an idiot, or you feel like an idiot together, or you just have a really great time. And I think that naturally you bring people together and you have a shared common interest. And I feel like there's no room for allowing, unless people want to be by themselves, there's no room for allowing somebody to not feel like they belong in a dance situation. Don't get me wrong, it happens. And I've been to dance classes where nobody talks to each other. And I don't know what that is. The atmosphere is just quite different to one that I want to create. So we'd go into a studio and people, if they know each other, they have a little chat. And there's nothing wrong with this at all, but just generally it can feel quite intimidating. You go in and everybody stretches or just is very focused. And again, that's maybe just their process. But something we work on at Sutton Community Dance is we have this thing called an invitation to move. This kind of came from when my kids were little, the idea that you'd set a room up before they came in with things for them to do. And they might go to the marbles or they might go to this. And then that would prompt whatever play comes next. So they come into a space and it's inviting already. They don't come in and you go, right, what should we play today? So it came from that. And I used to love doing that with my girls when they were little. So we've kind of developed that into an invitation to move in the studios. So generally the teachers will set up ribbons or flowers or some sort of invitation. My early years class this morning, we just have balls all over the floor. So they come in and there's automatically something to do. Those kids know they come in, they pick up a ball and they put it in the box. And that's the first thing. And when it's tidy, we start. For our older classes and our adults, generally we like to have music on, so they come in to a track already. When they're much older and they know how we work, they come in and they start running because the music is going and they know we're going to warm up. So you don't have that come in and everybody's like, oh, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do, I don't know who to look at. I just hate that feeling for myself. So I want people, when they come to our studios, to feel like they belong. That's really important. From the minute they walk through our front entrance, I want them to feel like they're welcome and belonging there.
Creating that space for people where they've already got a shared experience to kind of lean on, rather than it feeling so independent of you've got to start a conversation or you've got to, you know, engage with other people, but to be able to automatically engage with something that you're all doing together, and that, whether that be topic of conversation or, you know, looking at how each other are doing it and vibing off of each other's energy. I think that's really special for creating that openness for people to step in and then see where, you know, where the next hour or however long the class is. I think that's really lovely.
And there's less opportunity for that now. We're all so insular.
Exactly.
And in a dance class, you don't have your phone out, for example. And that automatically brings people together.
I mean, the clue's in the name of your dance school, Sutton Community Dance. So community is clearly an important part of it.
Yeah.
What have you noticed about the sort of social impact amongst the groups of people that come together at your school? What impact does that have outside of the school, do you think?
First of all, we're really blessed and fortunate to have our own space. People tend to come as a family unit. It's not so much I'm dropping my kid and I'm waiting, or, you know, one of my adults comes before his class and sits, and he's on a crochet project, and he'll sit and do his crochet because the space is set up to be able to just be. And we want to develop that over time as well and make that even better.
So do you see friendships blossoming then?
Oh, massively so. Yeah, massively so. You know, the early years classes, there'll be parents there, new parents that might have done this for the first time and they haven't had an activity yet, and they're meeting each other and then they go out for coffee afterwards. And we have a space, we call it Wait and Create. It's a large table area, not within the studio. So it was within our hub, our unit, We have a lot of parents that will sit there with their laptops and they're working, but they're doing that communally. Yeah. And they don't feel that they've got to disappear or go and sit in their car to do those things. So naturally, it's just set up for people to be able to have that space. On a Tuesday, there's a couple of families that come in, and then they sit, and there's two grandmas, and they sit and they read stories with the two little ones that have become friends. And it's just lovely. And it's quite a natural thing to happen, I suppose, but because we're blessed to be able to have the space that we've got, that encourages that kind of activity.
What would you say to the people who often use the phrase, I can't dance or I don't dance? How do you help people overcome that fear?
I do really believe strongly in the power of positive thinking, and I really believe in your mindset. And if you believe you can't do it, I don't want to say you won't, but you'll have less chance. I showed my students the other week a picture of a dancer doing a grand jeté, which is a big split leap in the air, and her arms are up and she was a million miles off the floor. And they just like, it was maybe a picture of you, Jez, I can't remember.
That's how Jez enters the office every morning. Morning!
I would love to see that, if you can capture that next time. But it was amazing.
I've pulled a muscle just thinking about it.
Visualisation is also key. So I showed this picture and, the picture is incredible. And I said, do you look like that when you do your leaps? No. I said, well, if you believe that you do, then you will. And obviously, we've got a long way to go in terms of getting to that level of technique. But I think belief is half the way there.
It's helping people to reframe what dancing is. And it might just be moving a finger in rhythmically or to a tune, or if you can move.
You improve.
Yeah. But if you can move, you can dance.
Yeah. I just think that, you've got to watch your language, because if you tell yourself you can't, you've already confirmed it for yourself. And you're right, Jez. I don't think that we're not all going to be Stephen McRae in the Royal Ballet Company, but we might find an ecstatic dance night somewhere and everybody's just grooving to the tunes and having a really good time, and it doesn't matter. One of the points is about the focus on joy and not perfection. Well, unless you're training, obviously, we all train for something, so we're going to train for our jobs in some capacity, but unless you're training to be a certain type of dancer, then just find the joy in it and just embrace that and all that can bring you, without the need for perfection.
Gemma, what are some of the simple practices that we could adopt to incorporate more movement into our daily routines?
So let's have a think. For boosting energy, so we're going to be practical now, and we're going to be tangible and not airy-fairy. So for boosting your energy, I've chosen to take a dance break, and I've written to play your favourite song, dance around for a few minutes. It's fun, it's energising, and it gets your heart pumping. So a bit of cardio as well. With regards to this, I mentioned visualisation. I really think that visualisation's extremely important. So one thing that I would do before if I was performing or leading a new class, you can only practice so many times. I believe that if you lie down, sit down, eyes closed, and do it in your mind, it's the same as doing it with your body. I feel like it's almost better. And so I'm interested to know whether taking a mental dance break also works. Because obviously, if I'm suggesting to boost your energy and you're in quite a corporate workspace, then maybe just getting up and having a boogie around your office would be great. And maybe that's something we can work towards integrating.
Encouraging,
yes. But maybe you're just not in that kind of setting. I just wonder whether you can stick some headphones in and visualise that happening. I don't think you can visualise without having a little groove, to be honest. But I wonder if it would do the same kind of thing, release the same kind of hormones.
Well, if you're listening to this, give it a try
and let us know.
Yeah.
So that was the one I chose for boosting energy. For improving focus, I've put seated stretches. So if you're at a desk, like you were doing, Jez, before, rolling your shoulders, stretching your neck or twisting your torso gently to release tension. Oh, yes, you're a clicker, aren't you?
Yeah, there you go.
And Jez doesn't like that, so I recall.
Yeah. It horrifies me and makes me jealous in equal measure, which is a very strange place to be.
I'm quite interested in cross-lateral movement. So when you do movement that crosses the midline of your body, it fires up both the left and the right hemispheres of the brain.
Right.
By doing that, it can automatically increase your creativity, your focus, and your productivity. So if there is any opportunity in your day and you need to improve your focus, just doing something that crosses that midline can be really, really beneficial. So recommend that one. Especially if you can take your arms across your midline, but if you've got your legs going the opposite way as well, all sorts is going on. I think it's good to try. For relaxation, I've put breath-linked movement. So I've put to pair slow movements like arm circles or side stretches with deep breathing to calm your nervous system. But something else, it still fits with the breath-linked movement. Something else I've been trying recently with some of my dancers is to move their body slowly, perhaps over 4 counts in an expansive motion over as you would breathe in. And as you breathe out, to reduce the size of that motion, also over 4 counts. And because I've been working with dancers, it's actually been really beautiful. I've had dancers moving around the studio, getting bigger for 4 counts and then releasing over 4 counts. And we've been really focusing it on the breath. So breathing in and then out. And using all parts of the body and shifting around the space is lovely to watch, but it's actually really mindful and really nice to do. I've been experimenting with some paced breathing recently. That's one of my little habit stacks.
I've not heard of paced breathing.
Oh, that is really, really good for resetting your central nervous system. Important for vagus nerve stimulation. There's lots of different, if you look it up, there's loads of different variants.
Okay.
The one I really like is box breathing.
Oh, yes.
I think Marines do this.
Yeah.
And you breathe in for 4, you hold for 4, breathe out for 4
and hold
for 4.
Yeah.
And that one really works for me.
Can we try that now?
Yeah, we can try that now.
Can we do a bit of
If you like.
smaller, bigger?
Let's do it.
We might make this into a little video clip.
He's hoping.
We'll just
We might have to see what the footage
I
looks
reserve
like
the right
afterwards.
to retract that last statement.
So, okay, I'm not going to tell you how to move, but maybe if you can collapse your body posture in whatever way. And over the count of 4, we're going to breathe in and expand our body. And then over the next count of 4, we'll retract that movement. You ready? Mm-hmm. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4. A different way. In, 2, 3, 4, and out. 2. Let's do one more. And in, 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4. Well done.
I enjoyed that.
Just make a mental note to pull my t-shirt back down.
Yes, please.
Fabulous.
How do you feel? Do you feel more relaxed?
I do. I think
do.
it was.
I do.
I also felt over the 3. Like the first one, I think I felt really self-conscious and a little, because it's something I've not done before. But then by the third one, I was like, oh my God, I could feel my whole like torso go up, and really, with the breathing as well, really feel expansive and, you know, and coming back in again. I can see that mindfulness
doing that
of
for
over
a longer
and over
period of time, and then moving around your space using your legs as well. Or, you know, if you're seated, there's ways that you can do that as well.
Gemma, tell us a little bit about, I know you are always curious and exploring kind of research and kind of the the boundaries of our understanding about movement. So tell us a bit about what you've been working on of late and where you're going with things.
Maybe it's another phase. I don't know. Like I said, I love to go through phases. I really love learning, and it's like bit of an obsessive thing. I think I stop one thing or finish one thing and then think, what can I do next? So I've had 2 things on the go recently. One is a course for movement and wellbeing called Move Ashore. Move Ashore is an initiative designed by Dr. Peter Lovett, from whom my favourite quote comes from, when you move, you improve, and Dame Darcy Bussell, and also Peter's wife, Lindsay, who is an occupational therapist. They have created a programme. It's a 20-week framework programme, which is categorised as movement for wellbeing. We first came across this at Sutton Community Dance and thought that would be a really great thing to integrate into what we do, because we have had and still continue to have local health centres, GP services. We're very connected to those services anyway, but they have often asked how they can refer people into us to get dancing and to have some positive physical activity. And whilst we're receptive to that and want to be able to welcome people in, if you are in a place where you've needed a referral to dance, coming into an established dance class, no matter how welcome we make people feel, can be quite intimidating. And I don't believe that at SCD they would be intimidated because of the environment. But if people know what they're doing because they've been dancing for a while, that's not going to make you feel brilliant. So it's almost like we need an introduction in. So we've been looking at Move Ashore as a way to offer that to people as a way in that they could then transition into other classes should they choose.
Nice.
So with Move Ashore, I have been training in kind of like a wellbeing coaching environment. And you learn some dances that you would then deliver to a group as well. And the idea is you can shape it however you like.
Yeah.
But the idea is that you would set up a group that would come and you would learn specific dances. There's a dance for strength, there's a dance for motivation, there's a dance for lethargy, dance for positivity, and they've already been designed. So for me, I learn those dances, I tweak them to what works for me, and then I would teach them to that group over a period of time. I would then host a wellbeing kind of like pod, a little session of about 30 minutes. And again, that can be something online or that could be in situ. And I think we haven't started it yet. I just qualified last week with that one.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm really pleased and excited to get it going. And I think that's something that will work really well at our studios, but in person. It'd be lovely to get people in, to get them dancing and then give them that time and space to chat through how they're feeling. And I was even thinking this morning how we can set that up so that maybe when they come in, they can rate how they're feeling. And then at the end of the movement, how they're feeling then, and have that as a lead into discussion about how they now feel as a result of doing some movement. And then on a personal level, I accidentally came across the Physical Intelligence Institute and thought, why on earth do I not know about this? And I had a call with Kevin. So Kevin and Claire have been the course facilitators. And I just thought, for the first time, this is something that resonates with me so strongly. I need to do this. Claire is a dancer, a contemporary dancer as well. So naturally, I'm quite drawn to her and to her ways of doing things. And with physical intelligence, it's almost like, I feel like I've been on a quest, like many people, on a quest to find what is the right thing to do, what is the best thing for my well-being. Should I eat this? Should I do that? Should I take this supplement? Should I? There's lots of conflicting information out there.
So much self-help out there. You can get lost in it.
Oh my goodness, so
it's
much.
overwhelming.
Yeah, exactly. But Claire's approach and the Institute's approach is about it is about your well-being, but it's a real practical and scientific approach to how you can help people to harness their emotions, to harness the chemicals in their body, to use them strategically in the workplace. So for their mental well-being, but how they can also increase their productivity and their resilience and strength at work. So that it's not woo-saw, it's scientific stuff. And that's really resonated for me because it's tangible and it's something that feels right and solid, if that makes sense. So I've been doing their coaching course to be a coach with physical intelligence. And
Amazing.
I've just been absolutely loving it.
Sounds interesting.
So yeah.
If you could share one key message about movement with our listeners, what would it be?
So I'm going to say, when in doubt, move. And to expand on that, this is also advice for myself, because even yesterday, I sat doing some work at my laptop for a long time and I was getting a bit like, I've been sat here for ages. And actually, generally, one of the things that I've been inspired by at the PI Institute is to generally stand. So I would really like a standing desk. But I've been doing all my meetings standing, which has been brilliant.
Yeah.
But when I'm kind of working and writing, I tend to sit down and I was getting really fidgety. And in that moment, I thought, why am I not taking my own advice? Get up, go and shake it out, go and do something, have a dance break, and then come back to it. Because I genuinely believe that is so beneficial. But like I said earlier, it's like we forget.
Yeah.
We all know that movement's good for us. So why don't we do it more? So I think when in doubt, move is a good mantra to take away for any situation. If you are struggling to navigate your thoughts in having a difficult conversation with somebody, go and move and come back to it. If you're, you've got exams coming up and you're revising, will that extra 30 minutes of revision be as beneficial as moving away and going and doing something physical? I don't believe so.
No,
I think
agree.
if you're physical, you'll come back fresh and you'll have a lot more productivity and a lot more energy for it. So, yeah, that's the one.
Oh,
when
fabulous.
in doubt, move.
Well, Gemma, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. You have been absolutely brilliant.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I've loved it.
Well, the people of Sutton are lucky to have such a brilliant individual in their community. I mean, Gemma is just so passionate about the work that she does. And honestly, I think if I lived closer, I would join one of her classes to experience her delivering her brilliant work that she was talking about. But Gemma, during our conversation, referenced one of the exercises of, dancing, facing away from a group of people and then turning around and dancing facing the group of people that you're with. And I really remembered when she did that with us at one of our Being Human workshops in London. And I remember feeling really connected to people that I had only met that day, and really remember having a huge smile on my face, like we did when we were discussing that then in this conversation. And I think that was my first experience of how positive dance movement can be for that sense of belonging. And I think it's really powerful because you get that physical and mental experience of belonging. It's not just your thought process of feeling safe. You physically feel it as well. And I hadn't experienced that, I think, until then.
Certainly not in a work sense.
No.
I found that inspiring. Inspired to move more, inspired by Gemma's energy and enthusiasm, and by what she does for other people as well.
Yeah.
The world needs more Gemma.
They do.
And as I mentioned when we were talking, movement, and more specifically not being able to move, has been a big part of the last few months for me as I've been recovering from this this Achilles injury.
Yeah.
So much of what we talked about felt very familiar. Maybe not the dancing so much, but I'm already thinking about how I might bring some dance into my day in a personal sense. And also, I was just thinking, which Just Add Water clients we might persuade to explore the power of movement and dance with us as a way of boosting energy and sharpening focus and connecting people, all of which are crucial to individual and team performance as well. So bringing it into the Just Add Water world of work, I think, would be great fun and a great way of building rapport.
Definitely. I do think that we should introduce some dance breaks when we go back into the office. I quite like the idea of that, and I'd quite like to nominate you to lead the first one.
I don't know why, but the Dirty Dancing moving ding, 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 ding is playing.
And the lift. I'll let you and Kat lead that one.
Yeah, I don't think she'd be able to hold me. That's it from us for this episode of the Being Human podcast. Thank you so much for listening.
To never miss an episode, make sure you've hit the follow button on whatever platform you are using.
And as always, we'd love to hear from you, our listeners. So if you've got topics you'd like us to explore, please do get in touch.
And of course, if you're curious about the work that we deliver as Just Add Water all around the world from our offices in London, Singapore and Sydney, then drop us a line. We'd love to chat.
You've been listening to the Being Human podcast. Brought to you by Just Add Water. Nurturing individual brilliance, forging collective strength.
But if ever you want to start the sentence again, all of that is totally okay.
As we will now demonstrate.
Yeah. What's the piece of music or song that you'd want to be with you if you were... Okay, are we ready, everyone? Because
we're ready.
Yeah, thanks, Amelia. Yeah. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening.
Yes.
Thanks for listening. No, that sounds terrible. Thank you for listening.
Nailed it.